Hey guys, welcome back. This is the third video of 3 talking about culture. I'm going to do a quick review of what we did on the first 2 videos. So first video we talked about defining culture. What is culture? Every company has a culture, whether you want one or not, you have a culture. And I define culture as the character and the personality of a company. And then we went to creating culture. Culture doesn't just show up, it kind of does, but we really want to create it so that it is what we want it to be. And we talked about doing that through core values. We talked about Ritz-Carlton and their lineup, or what we call our basics. So each week we go through a specific basic, talking about who we are and what we want that culture to be. The other part with creating culture is it's very, very important that people that don't fit in your culture need to work somewhere else. If they continue to work in your culture, they're going to crush the culture. So that's very important as well. Today, what I want to do, and this is probably a little bit more focused on newer grads or anyone who's going to a new hospital to work at. But what's your role? What is your role coming into a hospital that already has an established culture? What can you do to make sure you're doing the best for that? So number one, you need to know what the expectations are, and you need to know what the values are of the practice. I would deeply encourage you to make sure that those values are your values. If they're not, if you think you're going to come into a practice that's been established for years and years and you're going to change their culture, I think it's highly, highly unlikely. Now, if you just bought the practice and you're doing a top-down change, then you may change the culture, but you're probably not. So make sure, number one, that you fit the culture. So that is knowing what the expectations are. One of the things that we do the very first day a new doctor joins our practice is I say, here's the expectations. One of those things is, I want you to give 100% to every patient every time. Now, here's a list of how we do that. One is you be prepared. You got to know the history. You got to prepare yourself. You got to know what's going on before. The other thing is be yourself. If you're the type of person who comes in and lays on the floor and likes the dog to lick your face, that's fine. But if you're not, don't try to be something that you're not. And we have a couple other things that we go through there. Core values. You need to know the core values. We kind of hit on that. The second thing is lead by example. If you're expecting your technicians to not speak poorly about clients, but yet you are speaking poorly about clients, it'll never happen. So it's really, really important that you always lead by example. What you do is going to get mimicked. Reward verbally. So whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. And one of the things I always talk to people about is the 4-penny game. And so what that is taking 4 pennies at the beginning of the day, putting them in your left pocket, and every time you give somebody a compliment, you see something good happening that fits with the culture that you want it to be there, you take that penny and you put it in the other pocket after you've given the award. And by the end of the day, you should have given 4 different positive comments about things that you want them to repeat. And over time, that will make a big difference. And the last thing is ask when you're unsure. So going back to the example of talking about clients, we see it in most practices, but they're the people who feed us, pay for new equipment, allow us to get CE. At our practice, we just do not talk negatively about clients. And so if you're seeing something that you're not sure, is this the culture of the practice I've joined? It probably, if you're concerned about it, it probably is not. But I would go to the leader, to the owner, and say, hey, I've noticed some people doing this or saying this. Is this okay with you? And if it's not, then you at that point have the freedom, hopefully, to correct some of those things in the right manner. So going back to what is your role, you definitely have a role. And you want to take that very seriously, especially if you want to work in a practice that has a great culture. What are the expectations? You've got to know that. Lead by example, reward verbally, and ask when you're unsure about a behavior you see. So hopefully this is helpful. Feel free to reach out to me on Harbor, and I'm glad to answer any questions, especially for you new guys getting out. And hopefully you're picking a place that's got a great culture and you'll be one to go and make it better. Thanks.